Well, welcome back to the Awakening Potential Show. It's your gateway to the extraordinary, and I'm your host, Karen Rudolph, and I'm here to support you in stepping into your sassy confidence, your classy wisdom, and your bold, badassy brilliance. Because awakening your potential isn't just a moment, it's a movement. So here we dive into powerful stories, soul-stirring tools, and game-changing strategies that spark transformation in your life, in your work, and in the world around you. So go ahead and grab a notebook, open your heart, and let's light that inner spark. And today I am beyond excited to introduce somebody who I actually met in person down in Miami, who embodies the journey of really being advocacy for children in particular. Our guest, Tina Calleri, is an inspiring advocate for childhood education and a champion of nurturing young minds. With over a decade of experience working with children from 10 months to 4 years, Tina brings a heart-centered approach to education using music, singing, and dance to create joyful learning environments. She's a passionate singer herself, and she's graced both intimate and large stages, using her voice to uplift and connect others to their soul level. Welcome, 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 Tina. It's such a privilege and pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much, Karen. I'm glad to be here. Thank
So,
you.
yeah, but and I'm so curious about your journey. As we awaken the potential within other stories, I like to say, we all go from ordinary to extraordinary, I believe, every single one of us. And your backstory, like how did you get to where you
Um, at a point of break life, well, have you ever found yourself curled up in a little ball because people you thought that loved you put unconditionally put restriction on their love? And that's how I feel today. Back then as a child, I didn't know that. But then I found my voice in the cracks of my breakness. At a point of breaking, I chose to fight back. And I discovered, that I had this strength inside me and I became unstoppable.
Mm.
And today, Karen, I feel
Before you
compelled.
get before you get to today, let's stay there
Okay.
really. How did you find that? How did you trust it? How did you know to follow that inner voice?
I just, I did it for my children. I had three children at the time. And I said to myself, I can't have them go through what I've been through. I will not allow that. And so at that breaking point, I was on the floor crying and I said, I'm going to fight back for this. There's no way I'm going to have my children go through the same thing I did.
Right. So obviously before that, go back in time. Like as a child growing up, did you know you had a voice? Did you use your voice? Obviously that's a big part of what you're doing today, right?
Right. I did. I was a strong child. I mean, my personality is strong. However, I was down by adults, my parents, and because of our culture bondage, they had their culture beliefs that a girl needs to be quiet and just listen and do what she's told to do. Where I felt a lot of discrimination in our family, where a boy could do whatever he wants to do and fulfill his dreams and go out there in the world. And I was stuck doing what my parents told me to do, and become the perfect little housewife one day for some man.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
And fast forward, you got into a relationship with that man,
Right.
and what happened?
Well, it was an abusive marriage because he was very old school himself. I was brought up in Canada. I knew, it was more liberal here. I went to school. I was educated, and I just found myself that at a young age, when you fall in love, I basically went for the looks. I didn't go for the personality or looked into the soul of the other person. I was in an abusive marriage for 17 years. He cheated on me many times. He hit me, and I just became silent because I didn't want to be hurt anymore physically. I hid it a lot from people because I always put on the nice little smile, and I got really good at it, Karen. You know,
Right.
people would never, ever imagine that I was a victim of abuse in that marriage.
Yeah, I
Right.
so get it. I so get it. I feel you. Yeah,
Right.
I can so relate. And
Right.
so how do you overcome that?
Well, it's funny because you know the saying, seeing is believing. For
Mm,
many years, people said, oh, he's probably has somebody else. He's cheating on you. He's, you know, but I never, I mean, I felt it, but not seeing it. I still
mm,
had that doubt that he would never do that to me, despite of the abuse, right? I
right.
guess I was vulnerable. I was innocent in not believing that. But one day I found out where he hung out on Saturday nights. And it was a nightclub, and I drove there on my own. And I walked in, and there he was, having a grand old time, drinking, dancing with this woman that happened to be a friend of mine.
Mm,
When he saw me there, he ran up to the front door, he grabbed me, and he dragged me to the lobby. He slapped me so hard. He goes, "What are you doing here? This is no place for you." And I
mm,
thought with the slap, I felt my neck snap out of my shoulders. I
mm,
looked at him with tears rolling down my face and I said, "You're going to pay for this." And I went home, Karen. And that night, Karen, something inside me just shifted because I saw it with my own eyes. And there was no denying it anymore.
right.
I looked at myself in the mirror and I saw this big handprint on my face. And then I started yelling at myself, "What's wrong with you? Why are you staying in a marriage that is abusive? That's hurting you. Your children wake up in the middle of the night listening to you arguing and fighting. That's not healthy for them."
Right.
And
Right.
so I stood up, Karen. I put my armor on and I started fighting. I didn't care about the culture bondage anymore of that killer sentence. What are people going to think? That was the
Right.
killer sentence in our in our culture. What are people going to think? Keep quiet. Don't say anything. Shh. If you say something, don't talk about it.
Right.
That's how I was brought up. And that night, I broke that bondage and I broke the silence. The next day, I went and I filed for divorce. It
Mm,
felt, Karen, like 17 years of my life was lifted from my shoulders.
yeah.
And he didn't like the idea. He thought I would never leave. He did everything to stop me. One day, I came home from work and I had left the house. I went to live with my parents with my kids, but I had to get some stuff for us, like clothing and stuff that I needed. I found my wedding album on the kitchen table with a butcher knife stabbed right through it. Our wedding videos slashed into millions of pieces. And as I was getting ready to go home with the car, my kids waiting in the back seat, he arrives from work and blocks me from leaving. He demanded me to get out of the car, and I said no. So he grabbed a crowbar and started smashing all the windows of my car with my
Oh,
children
goodness.
huddled in the back
Oh,
seat, glass flying everywhere.
goodness.
He got a knife. He started slashing my tires. There was a little bit of space there. When he was doing something, I finally got my kids out of the car, ran into the laundry room, and locked the door. And I called 911. And then the fear evident voice in me got the SWAT team over there. So they caught him in action. They arrested him. He was he did jail time, and he got a restraining order. He was not allowed to return to the house for a long time.
I'm so sorry you went through that. And
Right.
I'm willing to bet as a result of it, your gifts came through, your power came through, right?
That's right. I thought that's right. It sure did. I said, "Oh my God, I could do this. I'm
Yeah,
not silenced anymore." I didn't care what my parents thought. I didn't care what my relatives thought or my friends in the Italian community, because that's what it was. It was about what people are going to think, you
yeah,
know, and people are not the ones that are bringing the food on my table or paying my bills. That was the first thought that came through my mind. I have to fight for myself, not only for myself, but for my children. I thought, I need to do this.
absolutely,
Right.
absolutely. So as a result of that, obviously you've gone through so much to overcome your own personal challenges. And how are the children doing? now?
Oh,
Are
they're
they?
all married now and have kids of their own. I have six beautiful grandchildren who are the love of my life, and they're all adults. I have no
I,
little
I,
babies running around,
uh,
and it's, when I share my stories with them, they said, looking at you, we can't imagine you've gone through all that. The strength that you have and the message that you put out there. How did you find that strength? They even asked me that.
yeah. So fast forward now, what is the gift and what are you doing with that gift?
My gift is that I'm sharing my voice now with so many other women who are or have gone through the same as I have in an abusive marriage or in a culture bondage. Because there's so many, especially in a multi-diversity country like ours, where they come and they bring their culture beliefs into a country like ours, and then the kids go to school and they say, "Hey, why can my friend do that and I can't?" Right? And I'm trying to be the voice out there to speak to these people and to these parents that it's okay. It's okay to let them experience things in life. It's okay to let go of some of your culture beliefs, because this is the way life is now. We can't be living in the 1800s when we're in the millennium years, right? And I'm trying to get that message through to the parents and to abuse women who have no voice, that they can speak up, that there's help out there.
Uh, So, what are you doing now then? I mean, you're working with children. How did that come about? Or was that what you were doing prior to marriage?
Prior to the marriage, believe it or not, I worked for a bank. I had a major responsibility in the bank. I was a mortgage specialist. However, during the divorce, I had to quit my job because my focus was on my children.
Sure.
Um, then, it was very hard finding a job, and I was home. And my sister had a little boy, and she needed daycare. So I said, okay, I'll take care of him. He's my little nephew and everything. At the same time, I had bills to pay. I couldn't just go by what my sister was giving me for her little boy on a week. I had children to feed, a roof over my head to pay for, and bills. So one day noticed there was an ad on TV saying that Ontario had shortage of daycares. So I kind of, a little light went on. I said, I'm babysitting my nephew. I see how much I enjoy it. What if I get a few more children, and that would become a really good weekly salary for me? 3, 4, 5 children, right? So I put this little ad in the paper. I took the leap of faith. I forgot all about it, Karen, until the phone starts ringing off the hook. And thank God for my gift of gab. I started telling them this, telling them that. Before I knew it, I had 20 families lined up at my front door for daycare.
Aw.
And if that's not a miracle, what is, right? So I started a home daycare at first, and it was growing so enormously. Then I started hiring staff. I started advertising more. I got my early childhood education diploma. I went back to school. I became a child development specialist. And so this is how the daycare got intertwined in my life. Just a little ad that I put out there that I forgot all about it.
I don't want to skip over that, because I mean that, it's brilliant because we all have experiences, right? Good, bad, or indifferent. We all have them. It's like I always say, what am I going to build with that? Because one thing builds upon another. And yet I'm hearing you have this little ad in the paper, and now look at what you've created with it. Because I'm sure when you put that in, you had no idea what you were going to create or what's
No.
going to come of it, right?
Right, right.
Yeah. This is where I say, we all have that potential. We all have the potential to look beyond and just trust, right? It does take a leap of faith and it does take a community to build, right? So now you've built it. Now what? Where are you at with it?
Well, 32 years later, I'm still running the daycare, despite of my age. I just love working with children and just seeing them develop from a little infant to a toddler to a grade one child. And it's like and I could see the difference that I've made in them as well. I'll tell you a story, Karen, that I had a knock on my door, and I opened the door, and there was this beautiful girl dressed in a long dress with a corsage on her dress and everything. And I'm looking, and she says to me, "Tina." I said, "Yes." It's Tina. She goes, "This is Mackenzie. Remember me? You took care of me when I was a little child. At
Oh,
2 years
that's
old, you
nice.
told me I could make it. And now I'm graduating. I'm going to my prom." And I said, "Oh
Oh,
my God."
love that.
What? And he said to me, "The difference you made in me has made me so powerful throughout my whole childhood, because I
Wow.
always remembered, Mackenzie, you could do this. Don't give up. Mackenzie, you could do this." And for me to make a difference even in one child's life, I've reached my goal,
Right.
Karen. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love
Yeah.
that. So you're a passionate singer. How does that come into play? And do you utilize that with the children as well?
Yes, I am a passionate singer as a child. Um, God has given me this talent, drama and singing. And as a child, I used to get in front of the mirror with a brush in my hand and singing along with the radio. And my mother noticed my talent at a young child. So she registered me at a competition in an Italian program on TV. And it was a contest, and I won.
Right?
And lo and behold, I didn't know there were agents scouting for child talent, right? And so there was one agent in particular who worked for the RCA company, record company, that wanted to pursue my career in New York City. But when it was presented to my parents shut it down right away
Mm.
because, again, because of the culture bondage. And my father, old school minded man, he said, that a girl can only move up in the entertainment world if she gives up her integrity to producers and agents. And at the
Mm.
time, Karen, I could have been the Celine Dion of my era. I don't know. I keep asking myself that question, but you know what? To me, I am. I look at myself in the mirror, I start singing, and I'm a star.
There you go. I love
Right.
that. You're
And
a star. I love that.
yeah. Yes, with my music talent, to answer your question, with the children, I have a guitar. I play the guitar with them. I use a lot of education with them, like the ABCs, we sing it. I use rhythm with a lot of them memorizing, for example, the continents of the world. We use the songs and the rhythm. So I find that children, when they're asked the question, what are the continents of the world, they start singing the song. And that resides within you even when you're in high school. Like if we
Right.
know the 10 provinces of Canada, there's a song for that too that I put in a rhythm for them. And when asked as an adult, I remember myself, okay, so I start singing the song Newfoundland and PEI, Nova Scotia. So I know, and that's how I know them all. So I instill the music and rhythm into the teaching with the children too.
I love that. That is so cool.
Yeah.
You can tell you're so passionate about what you do.
Yes.
What's next for you?
I really am working on becoming a better keynote speaker and sharing my experiences with the world. Like Miami was not my first, but it was my first in-person one that I felt, so passionate about it, just talking to the audience that were in the room and listening to my story and how I touched people's heart, with my story.
Right, I love that.
Right.
Awesome. So just as a reminder to the listening audience, all of Tina's contact information will be in the show notes for sure. So if you want to reach out to her, by all means do. And perhaps maybe you could actually hear her sing at one point.
Yes.
Uh,
As a matter of fact, Karen, about the singing, I did write a song and I'm singing it and it's on YouTube. It's called This Ends With Me.
oh, okay.
Yes. And if you just go on YouTube, just type in Tina Calleri, This Ends With Me, and anyone can hear it.
So do we get a little snippet of it maybe as a
Yes,
soundbite?
absolutely.
Oh,
You can.
yeah.
And so the song it's all what I've been through in my life as a
Mhm.
child and how I ended up where I am now. So, and I, and It has beautiful music that I wrote as well, and it just shows you the passion that I have for music. And I didn't let what my past dictate my future. I didn't let my past hold me back at all. At all.
Right.
I continued, and I still continue to climb.
I love that. So any chance, I know I'm putting you on the spot, but any chance, is there any chance you could give us like a little choral line or something just to get a sense of your voice, your gift, and what you're putting out there in the world?
Of course, I just have to hold on one second. I have to just get prepared for this.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I love impromptu. I love people being their authentic selves, and
Yes,
it's fun because you rose from the ashes in a sense and
right,
recreated yourself into the gift that you bring to children now and your
right.
music, and I think that's amazing.
Yes, yes. Um, the, the, um, the reason why I did this is because I just wanted not to have my story told because it's sad, but also
Right.
I wanted to put music in there to make it lively and have the melody that once you hear the melody, you can it resides within you. Like, it's always in your mind, the tunes and the song and whatever, you
Right.
know? Right,
Right.
right. Okay, here we go. Okay. This ends with me, the culture's broken. With everything I said, I've done it all. With now I know this ends with me. That's the chorus.
That's beautiful. And thank you so much for doing that impromptu
Thank
for
you.
us. I love
Thank
it. You
you.
have a beautiful voice.
Thank you so
What?
much.
Well, thank you for doing that because you had no idea I was going to ask you that.
No, I had no idea. I said, okay, where's my words?
No, you have it. It's with you always. I love it. And it's a
Right,
powerful
thank you.
at that. So, one of the things that I like to ask of our guests is what is a pearl of wisdom that you can impart on our listening audience that has made a difference in your life and might shed some light for theirs?
My words of wisdom, it's always been, I've always had the faith. I know that there's a higher power out there, whatever you want to call it. If you want to call it God, you want to call it the universe, whatever your religion is, the higher power is always resided in me. As a little girl, I looked out the window of a plane and I saw this cloud shaped in a face of an old man. And at 3 years old, I thought, my mom has always told me that God lives up in the sky. And so I thought to myself, in my childlike mind, this is the face of God. So always throughout my whole life, looked up in the sky trying to find this cloud that I remember I was 3 years old. However, as I got older in my adulthood, I realized that God resides within me. And and the strength comes within my inner self, which having God as my biggest cheerleader as well. You can do it, Tina. I'm giving you the strength, Tina. Get up. If you fall, get up again and do it. And I did. I listened to my inner self, which was the voice of God.
Right, beautiful. So, the message to the audience from that.
Listen to your inner self, listen to your inner voice. Become stronger and stronger every day. Don't give up. Even when you fall, get up again and do it again. You keep falling, get up again and do it again till you don't fall anymore.
I love that. That's confidence, right?
It is.
Tina, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your spirit with us and your song.
Thank you, Karen, for having me here today. It was my pleasure. Thank
Uh,
you. My pleasure meeting you in Miami. My
yeah,
pleasure you asking me to do this for you and for coming on and sharing my story.
yeah, thank you. It's such a pleasure. Thank you, Tina Calleri, for sharing your journey with and insights with us. Your story is a beautiful reminder that transformation begins the moment we become aware and continues with those brave, badassy steps we choose to take. It's always a choice. So remember, the bridge from ordinary to extraordinary is built with small steps of change and big leaps of faith. You're more powerful than you know. So keep showing up, keep rising, and keep awakening your potential. And if today's episode sparked something inside of you, let's explore what's next together. If you like what, check her out. As I said, all her contact information will be in the show. And always feel free to DM me Word Awaken, and I'll know where you were listening. Till then, make it an amazing day, and I'm stay sassy, stay classy, and keep being your badassy self. Bye for now.
Thank you.